Welcome back to my doll channel. Today we are making a Guinevere doll. This is a collaboration with Miss Kiwi83. She is making classic Guinevere, you know, the fully intact, like, ones you see on the Park Planet, and I am doing the one that Frankie finds on the salvage boat because I was like, yes, damaged wreck. I can work with this. So my vision for it was kind of to do like an interpretation of, yes, it's the one that Frankie finds in the wreckage, but also she like tried to fix it up a little bit, like with other scraps and things that she found. So it kind of looks a little nicer, but it's still not the best. And I wanted it to look intentionally wrecked instead of just like it looking like I just slapped a bunch of stuff together. So you'll see I'm trying a bunch of different stuff and just seeing what works. As a matter of fact, this entire face up that you're seeing right now, yeah, enjoy it while you can, because this is not the face up I end up using. Originally, I was using Scary Sweet Birthday Frankie Stein as the base and the head, because Frankie already had that half-shaved thing, and so I wouldn't have to worry about like filling in plugs to make it blend in more. So that's why I originally used that one, but ultimately I did not really like how that one turned out. You're gonna see quite a bit in a minute. I ended up going pretty far with this one, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But I just went over the hands and the legs because Scary Sweet Frankie has a hot pink leg. I thought that the prosthetic leg would work because Guinevere is a robot, so I was fine with keeping that. I just needed to tone it down a little bit. So first thing I did was I went over it with white paint, and then later on I go over it with silver. Also, a lot of this body paint I'm doing, I realized towards the end, actually affected nothing at all because the entire torso isn't covered up by the end. So the body was also like a side quest that ended up being totally irrelevant to the doll, but I had fun trying to replicate the innards of the Guinevere animatronic. And here you see that originally my idea was to just glue pieces of blue yarn to her hair because I wanted to kind of make it look stringy. And while I still stand by the fact that I think this is kind of cute, it just ultimately wasn't the look that I was going for. And also the yarn I used was way too light for this, so sadly she had to go. Really, a whole lot of this doll was just trial and error because I tried many things and many things did not work. I kept on trying to go with the body details, and then I was like, actually, let's give her some clothes. I tried to make this little skirt, but I didn't think it fit the vibe because what I was working with was this G3 Rebecca Steam shirt, the Frankie Stein Scary Sweet Birthday cage skirt, and originally the Scary Sweet heels, and it just didn't work. And as you can see, all of that gets covered up, and I just felt very incomplete to do it like this. I tried adding the skirt that you just saw me draw, but I didn't think it fit the vibe. So I ultimately found this scrap of blue fabric and just wrapped it around like a skirt, like maybe it's like an old tarp or something that Frankie found. And so I went to work weathering it. I started snipping at the bottom of the skirt and just pulling out loose threads, and then also like tried to make some holes without them looking too inorganic. So again, it's that snipping a little bit and then picking at it with my fingers to try and get it to naturally unravel. And then I basically did a similar thing to the Rebecca Steam top. I know she doesn't have the high neckline or puffed sleeves, but I thought this pattern was really pretty and I thought it kind of fit in with Guinevere's color scheme. So I chopped off one of the sleeves and then went over all the white bits with a light brown to kind of make it look older. Like this is a costume piece from one of the older models that also got salvaged. And then I did the same thing, taking the brown over the quote-unquote skirt and trying to make it look a little old and dirty. And about here is where I went back to adjust the face and decided it really wasn't what I wanted. I like it and I still like it, but I ultimately don't think it fit the vibe. So I eventually decided to scrap the Frankie head and save it for a different project. We'll get to the second face up in a second, but I did want to show this one to you guys because I do think she's really cute. She doesn't fit the vibe, but I want you guys to like look at her, and because I think she's kind of pretty. Maybe that's just me, maybe it's just because I like just creepy old things, but I mean, I think she's kind of cute. I mean, look at her smile. Look at her. Next up, I took this megaphone and decided to try and make it into one of those princess hats. I thought she had one of those in the artwork, but I think I was just thinking about this doll custom. So, but at the time I didn't realize that. I thought I had seen her in some concept art somewhere with one of these princess hats, and I think they're kind of cool and kind of fun. So I took the megaphone and painted over it with a blue that better matched the rest of the outfit and cut off the handle. As you can see, it didn't perfectly come off, but we work with what we have, and that's what I think fits along with Frankie's story of putting together this new Guinevere and kind of fixing her up and making her all cute and stuff. I used some white fabric and I just kind of stuffed it in there after weathering it. With the marker, I used the same method. Ultimately, it did not have the same effect, really. I just didn't want it to be stark white, and that's kind of what I was going for. Again, me working on her face, trying to salvage it before I ultimately decided to throw it away. Not throw it away, I ended up using it. But I do have this Cleo. I had already chopped off her hair and the intention of using her for a different project, but I never scraped out the hair plugs, so I was like, this actually is perfect. And she already had the dark blue hair, and so I was like, okay, I don't even have to like do any rerooting or anything like that. So I was very excited to use that. I just needed to paint her face gray, and then it hit me that the body was not gray, so I had to go over and do that too. So that was a little bit of a delay that I had with getting this doll out. But I think it's worth it in the end, because I think the gray really helps sell the Guinevere-ness of it. I'm assuming she's supposed to be like a silver in the world of Knights of Guinevere, but since it's like a 2D cartoon, that she's interpreted as gray. But I don't know. So I did try that first, as you saw a few seconds ago, that I did try to do the silver, and I was like, no, that's too much. Yes, quite the roller coaster, but I'm so glad to have this doll finished and have completed my first collab. So if you came from her video, then welcome. If you found my video randomly, go watch hers. It will be linked below. Without further ado, let's see that doll.